So now I'm going to walk you through a sample database that is pretty simple, but it gives you an idea of how, especially a relational database is structured. So this particular sample database is a, a, a set of records that contains information about university students, the classes they take during one particular semester, and the professors who might teach those classes. So let's start by looking at the student data. So we have a table that is a list of students that has a student ID, a last name, first name, major, and credits. So this particular set of information is only about students, and we see that only Jane Rivera is a computer science student. But we see we have 2 history majors, we have 3 math majors in that data, and 1 art. The class table on the left is a listing of all classes. So the class number, the faculty ID, the schedule for that class, and then the room for that class is listed. On the right side, the faculty table is shown, and we see that it has a faculty ID, a name, the department the faculty member works for, and what rank that faculty member is. And finally, we have the enrollment table, which has a kind of the relationship between the student and the class that they are taking. And then it lists the grade that they made for the course. So unfortunately, computer science was difficult for this particular person because they made an F in the class. And we can see that just by looking at the data itself. But we also have to understand the relationships that exist in that database in order for us to fully understand what's going on here. So we have the student table at the top, we have the faculty table at the bottom. These are tables that contain people, right? So then we look at adding the class number. Well, what is the class number in this particular, what is the class table in this particular instance relating to? We also have the enrollment. What is the enrollment table actually relating to? Well, in the class table, we see faculty ID, and that probably is relating to the faculty table. So if we draw a line there, we can see that the faculty ID is referencing the faculty's faculty ID. So we can see that CSC 201 was taught by F105. So if we look at F105, we see Tanaka is a CSC department instructor. We can add the same thing to the enrollment table. So we see that the student ID, and we mentioned this F here, so student 1002, if we go and look at 1002, Ann Chin, who's a math major, has made an F in this particular course. Well, this particular course is CSC 201A. So if we look at the class table, CSC 201A was taught by Tanaka Tuesday, Thursday, and Friday at 10 in room M110. So this is how the data in this database relates to each other. And in the next set of slides, we're going to talk about the relational model in a little more detail and how each of these things, these concepts where we're relating data from one table to another, relate to one another. One other thing that I should mention is if you think back to our discussion of Excel, this relates to Excel quite well. So if we want to know the room number that Art 103A and then list it right here, what is Art 103A? Well, we could in Excel do a VLOOKUP based on this value, and we can look it up in this table and say we want column 4 to display here. So we could say, okay, H221 would display here. So a VLOOKUP is very similar to what we would do in Excel, to what we would do in a relational database.